Ski-Mo is on everybody's lips as we head in closer to the Milano Cortina Olympics. We've had many guests on the show to talk about it. We're adding another one to the belt today, and I'm so excited to learn more about his journey in the sport. He is a 13-time American champion, the only American to ever finish on the podium on a Ski-Mo World Cup tour, and is tracking very well to be one of the first 36 athletes ever to compete at the Olympic Games in the sport of ski mountaineering. It's a pleasure to welcome to Off the Podium, Cameron Smith. Cam, welcome to Off the Podium.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, I've been looking forward to chatting. After you reached out, I listened to some of the pods, and yeah, it's been fun to hear your excitement for the Olympics, and yeah, excited to share some Ski-Mo. If you could take out that intro bit about Sidney Crosby's golden goal, that still hits me in the heart every time I listen to a new episode. So, but.
I don't know if Colin would be too happy with that if I took out, this shining light of of Canada, right. But we did used to have we had Phelps in our intro at one point. I'm just trying to think of what American athletes we did have over the years in that. We used to have the from an Australian perspective when we beat you guys in the 4x100 freestyle relay back in Sydney 2000. So we had a bit of Americans getting beaten more so. So okay.
Yeah, that's what people want to hear. Yeah, keep it in there. That's what the people want.
Sorry, we got to have that. Yeah. I should actually just start off as well. I got to ask a question which you might get a lot or you might never get a lot. Do you ever get confused with Cameron Smith the golfer or Cameron Smith the Australian rugby player?
Yeah, that's a good question. No one's ever confused me aesthetically. Someone said congratulations one morning. It was the day of like the Golfers Masters.
Yep.
Winning, and I happened to have seen the headline, and I said, "Oh, you know what? Thank you. I'll take it." But yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, I'm at best the third most famous Cameron Smith.
Well, I'm very intrigued to see if people are just seeing us post this interview, Cameron Smith interview. They're going like, "Oh, would love that guy. He's great at golf." Or if you follow one of our big football codes here, rugby league, one of the greatest ever rugby league players of all time is also called Cameron Smith. So I find that funny when we get somebody with the name that is somebody else. There is another Ben Waterworth out there, believe it or not, who does journalism and commentary, and I like to refer to him as the more famous Ben Waterworth because he's on more wider spread publications, and I get his hate mail too. So. It's fun sometimes. Perfect. Yeah. Have you ever gotten fan mail? Like, have you ever got anybody sort of writing to you going like, "Oh my God, I love watching you." Like you said, you get the congratulations, but does anybody ask you to sign a golf club or something?
No, yeah, I'm still waiting on that one. Maybe I should try to publicly post, "Hey, this is Cameron Smith's address," and then see if I can get some adoring mail.
Do it. I remember there was like a radio station. We're going to get into your career here in a sec, Cameron. Don't worry. But there was I think it was around the time one of the Bourne Identity films was released. So they did a big wide Australia search for people called Matt Damon. So there's like, say, 10 Matt Damons in Australia hypothetically. And they chose one to fly to the premiere to sit down and interview Matt Damon. Like it was like Matt Damon interviews Matt Damon. It was hilarious. Okay. So there's things you could do out there, make the Olympics. Cameron Smith's an Olympian in golf. So, it kind of balances it out, right?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, all of a sudden I'll need to start giving an alias for my my coffee order so that people don't make a crowd.
Yeah, come to Australia, you will get lots of free shit. That's basically what I'm saying. Totally. Just rock up to all these different things. But we're here to talk about you, and we're here to talk about Ski-Mo. I love this story of you discovering this sport when you did, and kind of came off the back of a little journey with your sister, I believe, and discovering the great sport of ski mountaineering. So to tell us how all this happened and how the Ski-Mo journey began for you.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. So there's all kinds of disciplines within Ski-Mo and ski mountaineering, and its origins are in more technical terrain, long distance travel, and in teams of 2 or 3 with these big, we call them grand course races, and it's evolved to those still exist and are the bedrock of the sport. And then there's the pointy end in the Olympics is the shorter sprint and relay that maybe people have heard about from some of the other guests, and we'll get into a bit later. But I got into the sport from that sort of like the OG, the original disciplines. And there's sort of a race in Colorado modeled after one of those original races in Europe, and this one's called the Grand Traverse. So it skis from Crested Butte to Aspen, so two different towns. Here in Colorado, two small mountain towns about a little less than 70K apart. And you start in the middle of the night, and you ski in teams of two and traverse over the hill and end up in the different town the next day. And
wow.
Yeah, that was the original race. And my sister said, "Hey, I need a partner." And I said, "Okay, fine." Well, actually, it was sort of tough convincing me. I was like, "I don't want to ski with you. You're my sister. We don't like hanging out together." She made a good argument. She got me hooked on some of the gear, taught me sort of the basics of how to travel, and I was just hooked right away. I think the sport's just such a beautiful way to move through the mountains. You can sort of be creative with your where you're traveling, as long as you're managing the safety components, and make your way up the mountains with all kinds of different styles. And then instead of walking back down, you get to ski back down to where you started. So I just got hooked on the form of travel and sort of took off racing from there.
Had you been involved in skiing in general before, other sports? Kind of like, what was sort of, your desire to eventually go, all right, sis, I'll take you up on this. This sounds a bit fun with what I'm already doing potentially.
Yeah. That's interesting too. Skiing was pretty new to me at that time. So that was the beginning of university. I was 18, maybe 19 by that time. And we grew up in the middle of the country in Illinois, like 2 hours west of Chicago. And didn't come from much of a skiing background there. I ran, was sort of an average track and cross country runner, but just loved it. And I knew how to ski. We would go 2 or 3 times a year to a small hill called Chestnut in Galena, where Abraham Lincoln's from.
Oh, wow.
And it was like an upside down ski resort. So the base area was at the top, and you would ski down maybe 100 meters. And then the bottom was the Mississippi River. So it was like these bluffs above the river. So it's actually kind of cool. I'd love to go back with a different perspective now.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But skiing in the middle of the country is pretty different than up in the mountains.
Yeah, Illinois, not really one of the states I often consider as a skiing hotbed in America.
Exactly. But I knew how to ski, and then I went to college out in Colorado, and there was actually a ski mountaineering program, the only collegiate one in the U.S. And there's some coaching and some other students doing it, and a little bit of a pipeline for hand-me-down gear and all that. And we were living in the mountains. You could go to class 8 to noon, and then the rest of the day was for skiing. So
wow,
it was pretty new to me at that time, but was in just the perfect environment to learn and grow and be on snow all the time and have some good mentorship and all that.
Not a bad way to spend the day, that you just end your classes and you can just ski for the rest of the afternoon, right? Like, worst ways to do school, I can imagine. Did you sort of, when it came to skiing and before the ski mountaineering bug took on hold, like, are we talking Nordic skiing, alpine, freestyle? Like, did you have like a discipline that you sort of tried your hand at or was it just like just skiing in general? It wasn't really a competitive thing at that point.
Yeah, definitely not a competitive thing. I had never Nordic skied, but I like to do a little bit now. I think it's kind of a fun just way to mix it up. And just those 2 or 3 days every winter of alpine skiing on the bluffs above the river. But no alpine racing, no like lessons or coaching. It was just kind of sliding around on snow. And then I had to learn quick to keep up with the sort of population that was attracted to go to school out here. So I had some good friends that I would just chase around the mountain, and Crested Butte is the ski resort just up the road. And so it's known for its extreme terrain. And I just kind of follow all the other 19-year-olds around, and you have to learn pretty quick as long as you can stay on your feet.
How did you go in the event with your sister?
Yeah, that was it was good. We did a few training races in the lead up to it, and we didn't finish our first one, or I didn't finish my first one. She actually went ahead. It was an individual race, so we could
didn't need you at the end. You just dragged you along anyway.
Yeah, in retrospect, that would have made a lot of sense. But and then we did another and just barely made the cutoffs, finished near the back, and then by the end of the winter, we finished in the middle of the race. We were like 100th place or something, and just over the moon about it.
But that's the middle. So the 100's the middle. So there's like a couple of 100 people in this event. This is a pretty stacked field by the sounds of it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's gotten a little bit bigger. There's maybe 225 to 250
Wow.
teams, so almost 500 people.
Wow.
There's always some that don't start at the last minute, just with, yeah, because you have to have both partners there and healthy and ready and weather and travel and all that. But yeah, it's a big event for a niche little sport in the US.
Yeah, definitely. And this to clarify as well. So this is more than 10 years ago, right? So while we're obviously talking about skimo in a different light today and where we're about to see it at the Olympics, this is well beyond it being announced as an Olympic sport. So as you were saying before, this is kind of done for the pure love and thrill of this sport rather than, oh, this might one day be an Olympic sport.
Exactly. Yeah. So for reference, this was 2014, 2015, and there were a few Americans traveling over to do World Cups and World Championships, and it was sort of this foreign idea that you could do these races in Europe, but they would come back with stories of these, yeah, crazy events over there and just how ingrained the sport is in their culture, and come back with a few pairs of the latest and greatest bindings and some new gear tricks. And yeah, that was sort of the pipeline of knowledge and gear, was few people traveling over, but it yeah, it wasn't a super well-traveled path until a few years later.
Which I loved when we had Max on. I know you listened to the chat with Max on that he was saying that the skins and all that used to be seal fur, like essentially like this is where it sort of came from. And I loved also how he sort of told the story when I raised it, well, this is a fairly new sport. And he's like, no, this has been around for a very long time, that it's obviously got a very long, interesting journey that we're now seeing turn into something else. So, I mean, when it sort of turned a little bit in the later 2010s when we pushed towards the Olympic inclusion, like, did you really start to notice a change and a development in the sport, or has that only sort of recently happened after it's been added to the Olympic Games?
Yeah, absolutely. Things have been moving forward in yeah, in the ways that all new sports and growing sports have. So there's wonderful parts and there's growing pains, and yeah, we're just on our journey where we are as a new Olympic sport. So yeah, like Max said, I mean, this is the oldest winter sport, really. Like, this is skiing before there were chairlifts, and skiing before there was grooming, and before there was all this technology. Like, people traveled by what I say backcountry skiing, which is sort of another term for ski mountaineering. Just, yeah, traveling human powered to do your skiing. And at some point it sort of branched with Nordic, of the gear was a little more oriented towards traveling on flat terrain versus in the mountains. But yeah, this was the original way to move in the snow. So yeah, it has those roots. And then racing sort of became a thing, or in the World War One or post World War II era, as like a military patrol exercise, after like some of the Alp battlegrounds in World War II in particular. But anyway, yeah, then flash forward to where we are, which Max and I thankfully were both post sealskin era. Now everything's made out of synthetic materials, and goat hair, where they just shave the goats.
Wow.
And they're perfectly well and perfectly healthy to make some of the hairs that go on them. But anyway, yeah. So like, as I was getting into the sport, it was like, oh, here's just a cool way to be competitive about this sport of backcountry skiing that everyone just kind of enjoys as a form of recreation, and we're just taking it and yeah, pushing the limits with it and seeing what's possible. And then with the Olympic disciplines, there's been a lot of good that's come with it, and a lot of pushback from some athletes too, that the disciplines that are in it are just so much shorter and faster than those original races, that there's some pushback to, this isn't ski mountaineering, like kind of like you were describing with Max, like, oh, why don't they have helicopters and drones flying over ridge lines while you guys summit peaks and ski couloirs and pass
that's
each other
box office, right? You know.
Totally, yeah. And that I think my answer is that we're moving towards that, right? Like, this is a foot in the door, and what I hope happens in 2026 and what I think will happen is these Olympic disciplines are actually really spectator friendly and really exciting. It's super dynamic with the uphills, downhills, transitions. And then as you move through the rounds, there's just lots and lots of change. There's not a lot of, this person is the best and they go out in front and they stay there. Like, they're super dynamic. Things can change really fast. Athletes are executing all kinds of techniques. So I think the the racing will be entertaining. And then I think if there's some storytelling there of, okay, this is what they're doing on the ski slope in Bormio, and the reason they're stuffing skins into their suit and putting their skis on their back is this, and then they flashed a footage of those, more the original, the authentic races, then I think people will, get that connection piece, and I think it'll create some excitement. And then, who knows what'll happen in 2030 and 2034, but hopefully we get some more disciplines in the games going that way.
This is just why I love getting people like yourself on cam, Max, anybody else we've had on to hear it, because you are all the OGs. You're coming into this sport as the people who have been doing this sport before it was an Olympic discipline, right? So I'm not taking away from the future generation who, as you're saying, the sport's going to grow. They're going to see it. Fantastic. That's what I want to do. That's the goal of any sport. Getting to an Olympics is see that growth. But as we always see with any new Olympic sport, there are growing pains and there are things that have got to come with it to kind of make it good. Example I use with Max, and I've used with several other Skimo ones, is braking, for example. And, that obviously hasn't gone on to what they hoped it was, and we're probably never going to see it again. But I found that when we spoke to a lot of breakers on this show in the lead up to Paris, they often talked a lot about more of a blowback than a positive, because for them, braking was an art form. It wasn't a sport. So therefore, That's why there was issues. And jokes aside about ray guns, she even talked about this before she became who she became, because, there were all these issues and everything that she would talk about on this show. So my point with this being is that when you're saying there's sort of some blowback from some of these athletes in your sport who are seeing it turned into something which maybe takes away from the essence of what they believe this sport is, or what this really is there a hope that they might come around one day once we see this sport grow, and that when we see 2030, 2034 beyond, that we're seeing these more traditional disciplines maybe added, and it's not just about what's friendly for TV, it's also about what's good for these athletes who have been doing this for a long time, rather than just making it a 2-hour spectacle on TV on a Friday night.
Totally. Yeah. So, I mean, the margins are so thin with only having 18 men and 18 women in the games for this first go around, that if you're not all in, then forget about coming around and participating.
Yeah.
But those other courses still are out there, and none of them overlap with the Olympic Games in 26, for example. And there's enough room in the sport for people to go wherever their motivations and their talents are. I think part of that pushback is then, like, the Olympic track is getting more funding, it's getting more support from the federations, which also is a great thing. I mean, it's unfortunate for the people that aren't on that pathway, but it's a great thing for those athletes, and is making a real big difference for those individuals' lives. But I mean, you can still have an entire winter's worth of racing that's totally separate from the Olympic disciplines. And I think that's great. Like, there's space for everything. And like the Olympic racing is really exciting, and the format's actually really fun when you're in it. And that's great. And I don't think that takes away from where the sports roots are, and those events will stay where they are. And maybe that'll be seen in the Olympics or something like it. We'll see.
Well, there's so many sports that you can point to that have say a rugby sevens, for example. There's the 15s version still has the World Cup. Like, men's soccer still has the World Cup, which is bigger than the Olympics. We're seeing lacrosse, flag football, cricket come to LA, which are much different versions of the sports that you obviously maybe associate with it outside. So I think in the grand scheme of things, there's room for different disciplines. The Olympics is just part of it, and that maybe a lot of people can see skimo at the Olympics, go, wow, that's what I want to do. And then they're going to discover these 70-kilometer hikes to Aspen and, vertical limit style Chris O'Donnell hanging off cliffs with drones and that around them that maybe might not make the Olympics, but there's obviously a little bit more to it than the Olympic Games.
Totally. Yeah. I love it. Like, I'm in a great place where I'm really enjoying the Olympic pursuit. And because of it, I'm able to travel with my coaches and teammates and have a great time chasing this collective goal of qualifying for the games or earning a quota spot for our federation together. And it was the time of my life to like be on a team again as someone that does individual sports. And then once or like even along this journey, like I'm still traveling in the mountains in the way that got me into the sport in the first place and enjoying training sessions up on high peaks and skiing powder and enjoying it. And it's, yeah, you can just enjoy whatever you enjoy. And yeah, just be positive about like it's a great sport. And I think there's something for everyone still out there.
Love that attitude. Absolutely love that attitude. You first competed in a world championship in 2017. So a lot of our guests, who maybe have only just recently competed in some world championships as this sport has grown, you've been in that sort of area for quite some time. And as I mentioned in the introduction, also went on to become the first and still the only American to finish on the podium at a World Cup. Is that still correct, or is that being topped?
Well, only male, and only if you're counting seniors. Okay. Yeah, so there's a female Nina Silic almost 15 years ago now, and then we've had some juniors be really successful as well.
Right.
But you can extend it the other way, and I believe this is still true that I'm not the only American male in that category. I'm the only non-European.
Right. Oh, wow.
In that category.
That sounds even better. Let's be honest. Come on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, of every World Cup and World Championship medal, at least in the senior category that's ever been won, I think that one day is still the only one.
Resume, top of the resume.
And then we have that other
there you go. That's amazing. So this was third in 2022 in Andorra. Now, I mentioned to you off air that we spoke with Arthur Whitehead, and I brought up with him Andorra because this is one of these countries that I want to find an excuse to talk about it, because whoever talks about Andorra at the best of times. But I'll park that for the moment. But to get on that podium, what was that like for you? This was in the vertical race at that point. Like, is that your career highlight when it comes to all ski mode right now?
I would say so, certainly. Yeah, it was such an eye-opening moment to prove to myself that all that work can bring me to that level. Like I think it's a beautiful thing to invest the time and energy that it takes to train on this level just for the pursuit of getting better. And that's more the like day-to-day motivation, but it was life-changing to see that it can actually turn into being competitive on that level too. And then I see myself as one of those top athletes and know that on my best day, anything can happen because no one was expecting that. And my best race before that was maybe 18th or 20th. And so it just, proved to me that if you just keep showing up and keep putting in the work and have some belief in yourself, that breakthroughs like that can happen. And I've had some pretty serious injuries since then, so I haven't been able to repeat that success. But I fully believe it's coming back. So yeah, that's what's keeping me going.
That's what we want to hear, right? That's what we want to hear. I see here only 2/10 off of silver, if you don't mind as well. And looking who you beat Max. We're not here to shit on Max. We love Max, but
it doesn't happen often.
Doesn't happen. You take when you can. And now I'm not going to try to. I've got a very bad reputation on this show, Cam, of mispronouncing names. The French, is it Thibaut? Is that how you say his name? He's the multiple world champ, like basically the GOAT of this sport, and you will finish ahead of him, right? So correct my pronunciation first of all, because I'm probably butchering that completely.
Yeah, Thibaut.
I was close, closer than I thought I was. All right, I'll take that.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, that's what I mean of on any given day, I can be up there and be competitive with those guys, and 99 times out of 100, a lot of those athletes will beat me and beat me badly, but I know that on my best day, I can, have anything happen. And that, it's almost addicting in a way of like, you just keep playing the slot machine of like, oh, maybe this will be the year, maybe this will be the day that, I have an even better race than that and win a World Cup or win a championship medal or something like that. And just the possibility of that just, keeps me working hard and keeps me motivated.
We have a very famous speed skater in our country, of course, Cam, who had that mentality, and on his day, everybody fell over and he won the gold medal. So you never know what can happen at that time. On Andorra, though, like talk to me about Andorra, because like again, who's sitting around their house on a Monday, Tuesday, going, oh bugger, I'm going to go to Andorra this weekend. Like, it's a pretty special place to be able to visit, and a pretty special place to be able to get your World Cup podium debut.
Yeah, it's an amazing little country. For anyone unfamiliar, it's a very small landlocked country in between France and Spain. So you imagine that French-Spanish border across the Pyrenees going all the way from the Atlantic to the Mediterranean, and Andorra is just kind of sitting there a little bit east of center as a tiny little country between the two. Can't remember the numbers of the population or the size of it, but it's a tiny little country that is 100% mountains, pretty much 100% ski resorts and national parks. And if you live nearby, there's no sales tax. People like to head up there for their weekend vacation.
Not bad.
Do a little shopping.
Yeah.
but really it's a sporting and tourism country. It's beautiful place in the world. And they've hosted the World Cup every year since I've been on the circuit, and for a while before that. And maybe some mountain bike fans have heard of the Mountain Bike World Cup being there as well. And the Vuelta a España passes through there frequently, right, and the Tour de France once in a while. So yeah, it's a great little country.
We talked a bit about it during the micronations the games. They had like sort of a European micronation games earlier this year, and Andorra, San Marino, Liechtenstein, sort of those type of countries. And always fascinates it here. I'm seeing here that never won an Olympic medal, Andorra. They've been at every Winter Olympics since 1976, and often their winter delegations are bigger than their summer delegations because of, as you're mentioning, the mountains, skiing resorts. Although in summer, they're pretty good at cycling, swimming, athletics, shooting, and judo. There you go. That's what we're learning here. We'd like to educate our listeners, and Cam, Andorra, we're not here to talk to you purely about Andorra, but I always just like to see, these countries, and particularly you bring success from that going onto that. You touched on the injuries. So I believe you did an ACL not too long after this, and sort of, tell us about some of those other injuries. Because this is a question we've not asked a ski-mo athlete. What are the common injuries when it comes to ski mountaineering?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I hope it wouldn't be categorized as common, but I did have a crash and tore an ACL meniscus in 2023. So that following season, and then rehabbed that for a year, and was cleared to race, did one event, which happened to be the vertical race in Andorra, just timing wise. You
just connected to this country, Cam. That's where you are, man. It's just Andorra.
Totally. A lot of special memories there. And then the next morning, re-injured an old shoulder injury in a weightlifting issue, and then had to get a Latarjet procedure on my shoulder. So rearranging some bones and tendons, and that was a painful one. And
you're so casual about that. Rearranging some bones and tendons, sure, that's just a regular day.
Right. Yeah, I watched an animation of the surgery maybe a week after. So as I was kind of getting off all the painkillers and everything, and it immediately just started throbbing. I couldn't believe, because they use a saw, they're sawing your bones and they're inserting them over here. And I guess I should have realized that. They got to move them around somehow. But
jeez.
Anyway, that's not what people probably want to hear about.
Hey, sorry if you're eating your dinner, but I'm fascinated by this stuff. So go on.
But so I mean, the timeline wise, that was probably about half the recovery as an ACL meniscus, but that took a lot more out of me. I mean, to have it be less than 24 hours after I had returned to racing and everything that I went through to get back just participating, to then immediately be knocked back down. And I had a concussion from a crash. It gets complicated, but it was a really, really rough time in that immediacy of the shoulder injury, and kind of flying home and realizing another season had ended. And that was probably an even tougher comeback, but physically it's easier because then I can spin on a bike and hike on a treadmill and all that and keep a little fitness. But two rough years, and then I've just I've been so grateful to be back since summer 24. I was racing a little bit on foot, and then been healthy as a horse since then and feeling great.
I was going to add the positiveness of getting injured at that period is it's not now, as in what we are 4 or 5 months out from an Olympics at the time of recording this, right? So it's sort of, if you want to get injured, you don't want to get injured, but if you have to get injured, you want it to happen as far away out from an Olympics as you possibly can get.
Totally. Yeah. And I kind of imagine I'm planning on having a fantastic winter and achieving all these goals. And I think if someone asks like, oh, well, like, where did this breakthrough come from? I'm going to say like, well, I just had a year or 2 years of healthy training. And I feel amazing right now. And I think a lot of it comes from everything I learned during those injuries and then being able to apply it with a healthy body. And going into this really critical period, totally healthy is, definitely something I'm grateful for.
Now, as I said, we're recording this in August, so obviously summer for you over there at the moment in the US, but that of course still means you are training, you are getting ready. Like, what is just lots of running, lots of trail running for you, gym days, like dry skiing, kind of like what sort of a general summer-esque training for you as we do rapidly approach the winter for you?
Right. Yeah. So historically, skimo racers have been either cyclists or runners or a combination of both in the summer. And then as we've moved closer and closer to the Olympics and things have gotten more professionalized and the level has just gone through the roof as far as the competitiveness at the races, now people are training as skiers all year round. So they're doing summer camps on snow and roller skiing and lots of time in the gym and all that. And that's always been a big part of the formula, but now more than ever, like, people are they're not racing in the summers anymore. They're just building up for the long season ahead because there's so many World Cups over the course of the year. And that's just a path that many of the athletes are on.
So to interrupt there, so it's not really like another winter sport where you're constantly chasing snow. So for example, you can have large periods of time in the summer, say to run or to cycle, whereas like if you're an alpine or a freestyle or a Nordic skier, maybe it's more important for you to be focusing on the skiing aspect, if that makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, our sport's highly technical as far as you need to climb, descend, and transition in between, but it's not so technique heavy that you need to be training with specificity 12 months a year, right? Like, I think a Nordic skier, like that, being able to apply that technique and power into the snow and being able to glide and balance makes such a difference in their ability to move that they need to be, chasing snow and New Zealand snow farms and roller skiing and all that. And then obviously like an alpine skier or a mogul skier like needs to be refining their technique, and there's no real way to mimic that in the summer. And skimo, that's definitely true. Like we're working on our technique in the summertime with the roller skiing and the transitions and getting on snow when we can. But the movement, the actual way that we climb up the hill is much more about your fitness and strength and explosiveness than it is your technique, because those skins are so grippy on the snow.
I was watching
that it's not as precise as like a Nordic movement, you know.
Watching a lot of videos since I first spoke to Max and a few other skimo athletes, and it is fascinating to watch how you do go up the mountain, because I don't know if this sounds offensive or not, but it doesn't even seem like you are skiing. Like you were just climbing a mountain. It just happens to be snow and you just happen to have some pretty good grippy skis on your feet. Like I did, this is not the same, laugh at me for using this as an example, but I did snowshoeing once in Canada and I got amazed at how grippy they were and how I wasn't sinking in the snow as an Australian who doesn't go around snow. So my point is, it just amazes me watching you guys climb this mountain on skis, climbing more so than just you think you like skiing up, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. And you'll see more gliding technique and a little more nuance to it in the longer races.
Right.
But the sprint and relay are just so short and powerful and explosive that, we're just trying to run and bound up the hill as fast as we can, because we only have a minute to 2.5, depending on the, the format to get up the hill. So it's a bit more about that power and explosiveness. So that's where that running and cycling and gym time and bounding and sprinting comes in the summertime, as opposed to needing to be on snow all the time. Because I can, for example, running up a peak with really good footing, anywhere from a 15 to 30% grade, I'm able to put so much force down into the dirt and get my heart rate so high and have such a high output. Where if I was roller skiing, the only way I could do that is if it was up a steep hill. And then you have to worry about getting back down and traffic and all that, right? And it's just, not as easy logistically. So like if I'm running or I'm cycling or I'm in the gym, I can put a lot of output down. Whereas, if I was constantly traveling to get to snow and fatigued from the travel, or roller skiing or whatever it is, then that compromises the amount of actual like output and training I can do. So that's where a bit more of that dry land sports comes in. And of course, all kinds of other skiing disciplines do this as well. It's a bit of an oversimplification to say that. But a bit of a tweak that I'm having this summer, and a few other athletes do this as well, is since we need to perform at the beginning of this coming winter, the first World Cup of the season is the final World Cup of Olympic qualification, and we're still on the bubble for earning a quota spot for our country. We need to perform at our very best the first weekend of December. So if you want to perform well at the beginning of the year, then there's sort of two different ways to think about it. Like you might need to be more specific in that fall period, but then also you need to be in that mid-season competitive mindset. So I sort of was making a plan for this about a year ago of, okay, how am I going to be ready for the start of the following winter? And I decided that that racing on my feet and doing some mountain running races and as competitive ones as I can would be a really good way to hone that mental skill of being under pressure and having something on the line and be around really high level athletes, and then transition to that specificity immediately after. So I'm going to race the Mountain Trail Running World Championships.
Oh, wow.
In Spain in September.
Right.
And like the qualification process for that was really difficult. I had to show up and put a bib on and race when everyone else had something on the line and be in that environment, as opposed to just kind of being a monk on a hillside by myself, training with this far off goal in my mind. And so I've been, going through that process of executing under pressure and performing under pressure and taking that all the way through the fall. And then October, November will be super specific skimo training from there. So that's sort of my way of attacking being ready for the start of the season as best I can.
Because to clarify, if people maybe missed our chat with Arthur, this World Cup, so it's in Utah, and essentially for the US to qualify, you have to finish ahead of Canada, and you're like a point behind them right now in the standings, if I'm not mistaken. They're 12th, you're 13th. You beat Canada, you get that continental slot so that the US can send a male and a female skimo athlete to Italy next year. That's correct, right?
Right. Yeah, it's painfully simple, actually.
Yeah.
We can be first and second, or we can be 11th and 12th. Like, it's just whoever finishes ahead of who. Very likely they're in. Well, assuredly they're in, and then very likely the other team is out.
Right.
So, it's really simple. So that's what I'm preparing for, is when we have that 30 minutes of racing and everything's on the line, I don't want that to be an unfamiliar feeling. So I'm trying to seek out as many scary, intimidating, challenging events as I can between now and then to get sharp.
It's so like fascinating to me that I get the idea of a continental quota. I understand how that all works, right? But to me, it's crazy that there is a sport where it's either going to be USA or Canada. As an Australian, I look at that you are both powerhouses in winter sport, that you're both going to be there. The fact that you're battling each other, like if this was cricket or rugby, like a smaller sport, or maybe you're not familiar, yeah, fine. But like a sport like this, to me, it's ballistic that only one of you can be there. You both should be there.
Well, yeah, I mean, hopefully you become IOC president. You got
Hey,
my vote actually in the last election. So,
sure, after Kirsty's had a go,
but
I can put my hand up. I'm sure they'd love me.
yeah, it's just the yeah, part of that growing pains of being a new sport
Mm.
is we only had so many quota spots allocated, and it's really, really tight and competitive to make the games. And we're not the only ones in that situation because there can only be a maximum of two athletes per gender per country from all the other powerhouse countries. So there are some really, really good athletes that are going to be watching from the sidelines, but hopefully they're still competitive in 4 and 8 years. And it just makes that qualification process that much more exciting. And yeah, it's I want it to be hard to make it, like I don't want to just be able to
Given
yeah
to you, basically. Yeah, sort
waltz
of.
in.
You've achieved it. I
Yeah,
mean,
like
look,
if I
it it's one of these things that again, you can understand it's a new sport, everything along those lines. We talked about that before, but the one thing I'll say that really does intrigue me why they're only doing 18 athletes, sorry, per gender, is that the Winter Olympics generally is a lot more open. They don't have an issue like the Summer Olympics have where they've got the 10,500 athlete cap. You've only got what, like 4,000 athletes. You're not even halfway to what the bloody Summers have. So to me, it should be triple, quadruple, 5 times the amount of that, and you shouldn't have an issue, right? But I guess you got to start somewhere. And as you say, beating Canada in December will be a little bit extra special. And you can reverse the Sidney Crosby golden goal bit from our intro there, Cam. You can be like, in your face, Crosby. You're going to your last Olympics,
Yeah,
actually, I'm going to my first, so screw you.
yeah, now that you mentioned, I should just be playing that on repeat and have a maple leaf on the wall in my my training
Arrows,
dungeon. But
throw it, I'm a Flames fan, so make it
yeah.
McDavid. Don't hurt Crosby. Crosby's nice. We like Crosby. But McDavid,
Yeah.
screw him. He's an Oilers, so, do that. Hit him against the wall.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, like we joke, and obviously we want this really, really badly, but the Canadians are also our best friends on the circuit, and the dust is going to settle after the race, and then I'm sure I'm positive, certain that they'll do the same. Whoever is not in the games is going to be a big cheerleader for the other. So yeah, we definitely want that spot, but I'll be really happy for whoever's there.
2 things on that though. You've obviously got a love of Andorra, so you can always maybe switch allegiances and go to Andorra. Or if Canada do make it and certain things go a certain way of a certain president of yours, they might be a state anyway, so they might technically be America. So who knows, right?
Yeah, our dear Canadian friends didn't love that joke this January and February.
That's all right.
for good reason.
As a half Canadian show, I'm sure some laugh, some don't with that. But let's be positive here, Cam. Let's assume that it's going to happen. You get that qualification spot. Obviously, we then know that it's not necessarily guaranteed to be you. It's then down to selection. I'm just putting it out there. Everything goes perfectly. You're there. You're in Milano Cortina. 2-part question. What would it mean to you to pull on the red, white, and blue America gold? Let's say that you get the gold. The fact that you are representing your country at the Olympics, and what would you be pushing for? What do you think you can legitimately achieve at the Olympics next year?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for asking both of those. I've heard that a few times, and I answer I grew up and saw the 2002 games on a 18-inch TV in my parents' bedroom and saw Shaun White doing flips and was like, what's that? And I've just been obsessed with the Olympics ever since, and just think it's a beautiful concept to have the world come together in peaceful circumstances and compete in all these different sports that you can watch something that you're a huge fan of and see at the highest level, or learn about something you've never seen before, and just all the journeys that are going on. Like, I've just been obsessed with the Olympics since I was a kid, and think it's just the pinnacle of all that's good, and I just want to be a part of it. And that's sort of the answer that I've given. But I've also it struck me that maybe more so than that, I would love the tangible gift of making it there myself and having success there to give to the people that have supported me. There's so many people, I mean, since youth sport, but thinking more more recently of all the coaches that are putting in effort and all of our supporters with the federation and my friends and family and my community and my employers and my sponsors and everyone. Like the list would be in the hundreds or maybe thousands when you think about the indirect touch points of people that have made an effort or given encouragement for me to be on this journey just because they want me to chase dreams in life and yeah, pursue what I want in life. And it would be such a gift to give to them of like, see, look, like I made it because of everyone else's support. And I have a dear friend that's fighting prostate cancer and has been for, it'll be 12 years soon. And he, honestly, he should have left us a while ago, but he's positive and healthy and strong and just wonderful person. He's still kicking and still healthy and still having a good time. But anyway, this dear friend is yeah, this cancer is terminal. It's been a really difficult fight, and he is constantly going to see his oncologist on the other side of the country. And the last time he went there, he told me, like, like I hate to ask this question, and I know that as an oncologist, you don't want to receive this question, but I've been really good at not asking it for a long time. But now things are getting harder. Like, how much time do I have left? And specifically, do I have February 2026 in me? And then he got his answer. and just knowing that he's thinking that, like, I want to give him this gift of participating there and being there together so badly, because yeah, he's done a lot for me. And then there's yeah, hundreds or 1,000 other touch points like that to different extents of people that have just given support or a word of encouragement that yeah, I would just love to put an exclamation point on that journey together.
What a amazing story. Yeah.
Lot,
Yeah, I can imagine. And by all means, that to get there for your friend and to show them that and achieve that would be absolutely incredible and inspiring. And I can sure it's just that extra drive to beat the Dastly Canadians in December.
Absolutely. Like I mean, not necessarily to beat the Canadians, but to give my absolute best effort and leave no stone unturned. And he told me that story in the middle of last winter. And it was just like a superpower in my back pocket at the hard moments of a climb when I'm totally redlined and giving every last bit of energy I have to get every 10th of a second I can out of the course. It's like a superpower to know that that's what's on his mind. And I know that it can't be for lack of trying on my part. That's for sure. And so It's been, yeah, definitely a big piece of inspiration. And I hope I'm there. And once I get there, we'll on paper be one of the teams. There'll be 12 teams there. We'll be somewhere in that 10th, 11th, 12th place. And it would take a huge breakthrough to climb from there. But like we talked about before, you never know. And anything can happen on any given day. And there's so many moving parts there's a male and a female racing together, and there's lots of gear and weather considerations and just lots going on that you just never know what can happen on the day. And so I wouldn't say that we are expecting or competing for medals, but I'm sure going to give everything I have on that day, and I wouldn't put any limits to where that could end up.
I'm very worried the day on this show, Cam, that somebody says, I'm not going to the Olympics to compete for a medal. I mean, even if you are the lowest ranked person in the world, as you said, anything can happen. And at the end of the day, that's the ultimate desire. But no matter what happens, if that happens and you make it there and everything along those lines, the old saying is, once an Olympian, always an Olympian, right? So that will always be something that will be there. And the history-making nature of it, you would be the very first male American skimo athlete. That can never get taken away from you, just like you are the first ever non-European World Cup podium finisher, right? Like these are those little things that look good on a resume, or when you're being introduced at a function, or NBC are talking to you, or something along those lines, or going along that. Do you have to, when it comes to sort of looking ahead and planning and thinking about this, because ultimately this is your goal, do you have to like ring up the travel agent, get the family on some accommodation in Italy just in case, and like things like that, making sure that everything's in place when you get that ticket. We're saying when, not if, when you get that ticket to Milan.
Sure. I know that people are booking cancelable lodging,
Right. Okay.
but they're not telling me about it, and that's good because we're so focused on this weekend in December. And I mean, like, I know the schedule of the games roughly and have concepts of, yeah, an idea of when I'd be traveling and what my training plans will look like and all that. But and I think that there's a lot of preparation from a federation standpoint of they know what the hotel would be, they know what the coaching situation would be and all that, but no one's talking to me about it. And they're not talking to me about it because they know I don't want to talk about it because I only want to hear details about this qualifying race because we need to give absolutely everything to have a chance. So yeah, we're still focused on that for now.
How do you find then sort of things like this, things like sort of some of the attention? Because I noticed you've got some great content out there where, say, like the Olympics social media have interviewed you or explained that, and you've been a bit of a face, I feel, for the sport in the US and the world, let's be honest. Like, do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy that opportunity to sort of take a back foot to your Olympic goals and to be able to sell the sport, tell some stories, do things like this so people are more aware of not just yourself, but the sport in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think our sport is so beautiful and it's hard to access. You need mountains and you need all this specialized gear and all that. But like, if it's possible for someone, and as a kind of side tangent, I think the Olympics bringing attention to the sport more and more of a base of interest in the sport. Maybe there's more brands creating gear. Maybe there's more accessible prices, all that good stuff. But anyway, yeah, I love this sport and it's given me so much, and I will enjoy doing it all of my life, I hope. And I see it as playing a role in sort of getting the good word out there about yeah, who we are as the skimo athletes of the world and the journeys that we're on. And yeah, I enjoy playing a part in that, and it doesn't add any pressure to me. Like, I'm focused on what I need to do to make this happen. And I really enjoy that it's so black and white and that it all comes down to one day. That's actually really exciting for me. And I prefer it this way of we're going to perform and we're in, or we don't and we're not.
Mm.
And so there's not really anything you can do. You could say you get $10 million on top of it if you just qualify for the games, or you get this, or you get that. That would change nothing for me. Like, I'm focused on what we need to do. And yeah, I just enjoying the process no matter how it's going to shake out.
It's the Super Bowl. It's Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, right? This is where you've got to achieve the most to walk away with the trophy at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah, but it's all the same. I mean, it's all just give it everything you've got and race with your own style and your own, yeah, the best of your own abilities. And whether it's Game 7 and the Super Bowl, or it's trying to beat your friends to the top of the hill, like, well, I mean, that's a bit of a maybe there's a difference in my effort level there, but you know what I mean. If I'm all in on this no matter what the stakes are. And yeah, I mean, to circle back to the question of the media attention, or like, people are always asking me at home about it, and like, yeah, friends and coworkers and family and all that have clarified the situation for me. Like, it's yeah, it doesn't really bother me. It's a lot of time to explain it over and over again, but I'm just enjoying where we're at.
There's a question in our final 10 that you might be able to get some frustration out with that one. Don't worry about that. A great Australian, Daniel Ricciardo, has a great saying that sometimes you just got to lick the stamp and send it, right? So that's what you got to do when it counts, and I'm sure that's what you'll do. We're going to get to those questions in just a moment, Cam, but one thing I wanted to bring up, on one of your interviews that you did on the Olympics social media, you told a great story about coming across a herd of reindeer in Norway. Can you share this story with our listeners? Because I think this is a fantastic story.
Yeah, well, real quick, I mean, it does explain sort of, yeah, it's a good anecdote for skimo. I mean, so we were doing a race in the mountains of Norway in Tromsø, so very far north on a little island in a fjord, and racing up a peak, and I can't remember 15 or 20 meters behind a teammate, and I'm chasing him down, and then a small herd of reindeer run across in between us, and he had seen them in his periphery, and we both just kind of turned and watched as these animals ran by, and he looked back and was like, that was so cool. And I looked up like, yeah, it was, but like, okay, back to the racing. Yeah, it was just exciting to like, our venue is nature. Like our venue is the high alpine. It's the mountains. It's beautiful. And yeah, I told that story and thought it was funny and then kind of forgot about it. And then when the post came out, the World Cup was back in Norway just by happenstance, or actually, I'm sure they planned that out. Those are some clever media folks on that team. But then we were at the same venue, and instead of those 4 or 5 reindeer running across once, there was this herd just hanging out near the start and finish for the entire week, and everyone got their reindeer photos in the middle of me.
They knew the reindeer were on social media. Yeah. We're like, we're famous. Look at us. Everybody get out. People want photos with us.
Exactly. So like I told that story thinking like, oh, what a unique thing, and then a week after it came out, it was kind of everyone's.
Again, you're the OG. You are the OG though, Cam. You started the trend. Take it like that, right? Like, you know, that's,
fine.
Go for it that way. But that's still like, I mean, I love hearing you explain that. Like your course is nature. You know, this is the beauty of what you do. And I love the constant running joke, I feel, amongst skimo athletes that you just never have to pay for ski lift passes, right? So that's why you do it. But then you get amazing, you know, interactions with reindeer, and you might be the first ever to come across Bigfoot. Maybe, you know, you're up there in the, you know,
could be. That'll just keep me training.
Exactly. Bigfoot can make you ski faster, you know, like shit, Bigfoot's after me. And they just keep on going, right?
That's right.
That wouldn't be a bad thing to happen at the Olympics, right? Oh, and here comes Cam Smith down the hill, and there's Bigfoot. Bigfoot's real, but it doesn't matter because Cam Smith's winning the gold.
If we could pull that off, I think that would be good for the sport. So
that would blow up the internet. I think that would go viral. Just saying. You might end up on the Tonight Show. Jimmy Fallon might be on the phone to you the next day, going like, "Hey Cam, congratulations on the gold and surviving Bigfoot. Would you like to come on the show tomorrow night?" So, just putting it out there. Cam said we'd like to wrap up. 10 get to know questions. You heard these. You listened to our chat with Max, and you said you listened to a few, so I don't know if that means you research or you just think about it or you just completely blocked it out and these are going to be new, but we're about to find out. The one thing that you never leave home without when traveling to a competition, and as always, I'm going to say you're not allowed to say skis because that's the obvious answer.
Yeah, well, I mean, just to bounce back real quick, I mean, I heard it enough times to know what the questions will be, but just enough to be like, oh, that was a hard question. I don't know what I would answer. And then I kind of forgot because I started listening to whatever.
Good. It's all right. People tune out by the end. Yeah. It's all right. And by the end of the interview, you're like, oh God, is this over with? You put it on 2 times speed and you're already ready to move on. So it's fine.
Yeah. Geez. I do remember dreading these questions a bit because they were tough ones. Let's see. So something I never leave home without. I mean, you can't say toothbrush or phone charger, right? I guess that's everybody.
Yeah, I like to try and make this sort of that more unique one. Like, I mean, if you don't have one, fine. But Max brought up his pillow, didn't he? He had a pillow going to every single one. So I like that one. That was quite unique.
Yeah, that's actually, it's becoming a common move. We all bring like inflatable travel pillows and use them for our backpacks just to give them some structure. And they're really light, but you know what a few teammates of mine are doing, and I won't name names, is they figured out something that could hold air that's a little bit lighter, that they blew up that looked like a balloon, but it's used for more crude purposes usually, and it's a little bit slippery on the outside.
Okay.
Smelled like latex that they were using instead of an inflatable pillow in their backpacks. But it was kind of those aren't as reusable as the pillow.
Yeah, no, I can see.
I won't name names of who was using this.
You don't want to just get them into trouble at all? You don't want to like get some under your rival skins or something like that in the lead up? You know, now's your opportunity to really get, you know, name and shame.
Yeah. All right, well, let me pivot real quick. So I've actually started bringing like some kind of fidgety game that's not a screen. So like juggling balls or like kendamas, like those old wooden kind of stick and ball
Yep.
toys just to like kind of have something to play with that keeps me off a screen. Like I find that often sort of just takes my mind off the racing or the travel and lets me like kind of play a hand-eye coordination game. And I find it sort of helps me relax a little bit.
Okay, I like that. It is interesting, isn't it? We all just live in an era where we're always on our screens and, you know, we're always distracted by that. But that's like, was it a few years ago, like those fidget spinners became a thing, right? Like, and I felt, was that like a distracting thing? Like, get off your phone, but play with a fidget spinner. Whatever happened to those? Do they still exist or?
Yeah, I'm sure they do. And now that you mention it, maybe I should add that to my arsenal.
Hey, there you go. You're welcome. Bring back
like something to play with.
Yeah, it's kind of like
it's fun with those other things because I can learn a new trick or like learn a new skill, even though it won't apply to anything else. But your brain likes doing that, so
you got to do it sometimes, right? You got to keep it entertained and distracted. That's how it works. A traditional superstition you follow before every big competition.
Gosh, a superstition. I'm really not a superstitious person. And I know that Max was similar. He's like, well, here's all my super dialed in pre-race routine. But no real superstitions. But I do like to, when I'm on the start line, I sort of look around and try to smile. Because that's when you're feeling really nervous, but it's something that I build my whole life around doing because I enjoy it so much. And so just like I take a deep inhale, exhale, and smile and look around while I'm standing on the start line and the gun's about to go off and the tension's at its highest. So that's just a moment that I look forward to on each start line at least.
I like that because I mean Usain Bolt was always very like, you know, jovial and happy on the start line, wasn't? I mean Noah Lyles was pulling out Yu-Gi-Oh cards and stuff like that. We had an Australian football team here that won the championship a couple of years ago, and they were sort of known for their different mentality. Whereas on the championship day, Australia's Super Bowl, rather than going out onto the field and being all like stoic and like, we're going to do this, the captain was like, come on guys, smile, let's be happy. And they're all almost laughing coming on the field and being happy. And everyone's going like, what are they doing? Why are they so happy? They haven't won or lost the game yet. They went on to win, and like everyone's like, wow, maybe this is what works. So it's a unique ploy, and I'm sure it also, in all seriousness, might get under your competitor's skin a bit. They might be going like, why is this Cam guy so happy? You know, like what's going on?
Yeah, and I mean, like probably the rest of the morning, I'm not looking like a happy guy, but it's just for me.
It helps you. Yeah. That's all that matters, right? That's what you got to focus at that point. What's a song that is on every one of your pre-competition playlists, no matter what?
A song. I used to listen to music to calm myself down a little bit because I was training for these longer races that you don't want to get too amped up for. But now with these short, intense races, I have more of a pump up playlist that I've been enjoying. So I think my Spotify Wrapped is going to be entirely that playlist once the end of the year rolls around. But like an Eminem song, maybe, like I always have Lose Yourself on one or on any given playlist, because I like sort of the lyric of like, this is your one opportunity, what are you going to do with it? Because we sort of had a do or die moment every single race this year, because every single one counted towards the qualification. So I liked the sort of messaging and headspace that I got from that.
It never gets old, that song, and it's perfect to get you into any zone like that, isn't it? Just so good. Academy Award winning song. I think people often forget that won an Oscar. So I always like that little fact.
Yeah.
If people didn't realize that won an Oscar.
There you go. I learned that Barack Obama listened to it before some of his debates when he was first running for president.
Hey, there you
2007, 2008, which I never thought of those as a performance, but I mean, it absolutely is. Like, he's trying to perform in order to win this political election. I just thought it was kind of a cool image in my mind of him listening to it.
Not that I'm sure Eminem needs much to make himself feel good about what he's achieved in life, but an Oscar and having the president of the United States, one that most people liked, get excited listening to your music, right?
Yeah.
Not one of these more recent ones where artists are asking the president not to use their music. So
don't mention me. Don't mention me.
No, exactly. Please stop using my music. Stop using my music. I don't want to be associated with you. Generally the opposite. I love hearing that. The most unexpected or funny DM that you have ever gotten?
Oh, I do have a really good one for this. So
good.
my now wife, we got married last month and had the
Congratulations.
best time. We're loving it. Thank you so much. She sent me a message before we had ever met,
Oh, she
and it
slid into
was
your
like
DMs. Okay.
well, yeah, but that's not what she was going for. She was asking for advice on what skis to buy.
Okay.
And she was training for the Grand Traverse, that race that I was talking about getting me into the sport. And so at that point, I had won the race a few times and had whatever records, and so like I was on their social media presence and actually worked for the it was a Nordic center that put it on as a fundraiser because it was the Nordic Center's nonprofit. But anyway, this is a big tangent. She was training for the race. I was sort of associated with the race. She sent me a message saying like, "Oh, is this ski too much or too little for me? Here's my height. Here's my weight." And I get messages sort of like that with some kind of frequency. So I just kind of answer them quick, and I'm not, yeah, putting a lot of effort into. And I said, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah. Like I'm about the same. Or I'm a bit taller. I'm about the same weight, and here's my ski, and I'm super aggressive skiing, and I'm an awesome skier. But here's what I use to just go off that." It was like a pretty rude answer in retrospect, and that was the first interaction we ever had, and then we happened to meet in person a week later.
And the
And
rest
I
is
didn't know
history.
for a few weeks that it was the same same person,
Wow.
but she thinks that story is pretty funny of how much of a jerk I was before we met.
So basically, you're trying to say then that if you're single and want to get married, just be a jerk to somebody messaging you, and then future looks bright.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow, I like that. Okay? So we're starting to get some interesting ones on this. I think Max told the story, didn't he, about him being a birthday present, and now you're essentially
Yeah.
telling the story about how you met your wife through a random message. I mean, the gone are the days where we were getting people answering this question that people were wanting feet pictures to be sugar daddies and sugar mummies and,
Yeah.
getting some disturbing shit. Good to see there are nice messages in a way being sent, not just disturbing ones. So
Sure. And how about Lee Diffie with the astronaut sending
I
in
know,
the,
right? Like astronaut
yeah.
from space, a picture of, a racetrack from space. That's pretty epic. If there's astronauts listening to this and
Totally.
they want to send you pictures of skimo tracks from space, why not? But
Yes, please do in case anyone is in that boat.
yeah, I didn't ask Lee if he was going to Milano Cortina next year. Maybe he would get him to commentate on the skimo. He'd be pretty good at the skimo, I think.
Oh boy, that'd be a dream of like I've loved listening to his track and field calls over the
Yeah.
years. Some iconic moments for sure.
Yeah, no, Lee's great. We love Lee, and yeah, if you haven't listened to it, check it out. Great little segue there to plug another episode, Cam. I appreciate that. The weirdest thing that you have ever eaten at an international competition, and did you like it?
Oh boy. So I'm a vegetarian, so that eliminates a lot of really odd
Mhm.
foods when you're traveling. And of course, like anyone else, I try to be pretty careful with what I am eating before races. Like I don't think I have any super adventurous ones, but a memory that does stand out was in Thailand for a previous mountain running world championship, so similar to the race that I'm getting ready to do. And it's funny because I heard Max Trion bring up the same event. I did not eat. What did he have? Like a scorpion or
Yeah.
a beetle or something. That was never going to happen for me. But I was actually with Max on a bit of a tourist day a few days before the races. We like pet some elephants and yeah, rafted on some bamboo sticks and all that. But like the lunch that day, they handed us these sort of condensed little leaves. I don't know what kind of tree it was from, but a large leaf like I wouldn't have seen anywhere that I'm used to from where I'm from. And you unwrap it and there was a pad thai inside. And it was just like the presentation was unique. So the food was just a regular, well, not a regular, an authentic, amazing.
It's like in a leaf
pad
rather
thai
than
in
just
Thailand.
like a.
It was delicious.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's authentic shit right there, though. That's like
Totally.
Thai
Yeah.
food. That is literally Thai food
Yeah,
right
yeah.
there. Wow. Fantastic. I like the answers like that because it's sort of, this is again, it's one of these ones that I feel always steeps towards the two most common countries we always get with this one is either Norway or China is where they're eating the weird food. But it's sort of, I like it when we sort of get those unique ones along the way. So, learn that. When I went to Thailand, I got to admit, I don't even think I really ate Thai food I was in such a tourist area that we were just like, let's not eat Thai food because it's probably just like we get at home. So, yeah, that's a bit of a shame thing that I can say there. On the food note, though, your ultimate guilty pleasure meal after a big competition.
Oh, Um, I don't think my eating super restricted before the competitions either, other than, yeah, like I said, kind of being plain in those couple of days before. But you got to eat the food that makes you happy and feel good too. So I don't think there's anything that I'm like
You don't
kicking
save it.
away that I'm
Okay.
waiting for after. But
Good answer.
yeah, just something fatty and salty and
Yeah.
and heavy, and yeah,
We're now
go to sleep that night feeling like garbage actually feels really nice.
when we had Arthur on, Arthur talked about how he eats ice cream every day. Do you have like a similar vice though? Like, are you an ice cream man, chocolate man, like anything along those lines at all?
Well, that checks out for Arthur actually. Now that I have seen him going out to get gelato 20 days in a row. But anyway, I sort of have a thing with croissants when I go to
Oh,
Europe.
I did see a
The first
photo of
time
you
I
on your
ever went,
Instagram with a big thing of croissants, so that makes sense
yeah,
now. Okay.
yeah, I somehow started. Well, I not somehow. There is a story there, but it's long and boring. Started tallying the amount of croissants that I would eat on these racing trips. So like, oh, my race was great. I got this place, and then at the bottom of the post, croissants 17, and then people would see the number rise. And then we finally did a giveaway where someone got a nice puffy jacket from my sponsor, Dynafit, if they guessed how many croissants I was going to eat this winter. So
Wow.
yeah, I look forward to croissants, but that's before, after, maybe sometimes during these events. So yeah, not something that
But but I'm
looking.
still but I still think, like, given the nature of how much you would need carbs in your sport, that you can have an excuse to eat 17 croissants before an event, right?
Yeah, and if anything, I need to put on some weight. I mean, obviously, ideally muscle. Like it's not like it's just yeah, you can't. There are strength to weight things, but I do need to add muscle for these short hard events, and so there's probably, gosh, who knows how many more times, infinitely more athletes run into trouble from eating too little than eating too much. So yeah, got to make sure
Fascinating.
you're staying fueled.
Fascinating. I love hearing that tracking though. I have a very weird obsession for poutine, and whenever I've been in Canada, and you can get like the authentic shit, right? Not the crap we get in this country, but I remember one visit, and this is when I was quite large. I've lost a lot of weight since then, but I think I tracked I had 28 different poutine in about 2 weeks. So I look back and go,
No
there's a
way.
reason why I was that fat. But
Oh wow.
I did go to an all-you-can-eat poutineery in Vancouver. That was fun. So, yeah. But
Well, I think that's something to be proud of. Maybe not something to replicate, but
no,
it's an
not
experience that you
anymore.
had.
I've
Yeah.
changed my eating ways, Cam. I have, lost weight and maintain a decently healthy lifestyle now. But there was a period of my life where I could go to an all-you-can-eat poutinery and not be ashamed. So that was my Olympics. That's what I achieved
Oh,
at the time. If you could swap sports for a day with another Olympian, what event would you choose, and how do you think you'd fare?
Yeah, another sport. Gosh, really anything. I would love to. Like every sport has something exciting and unique about it, and unique demands and mental challenges and physical challenges. But I think, I mean, I mountain bike for training and for fun, and I same with climbing and like a lot of these things. Maybe I dabble a little bit in for fun or get the experience to do. But what I don't do that much anymore is like a team ball sport. Like it'd be fun
Mm,
to be on the court or on the floor and like, yeah, have a be a team passing something around. It can be a puck, it can be a basketball. So yeah, I'll say basketball, but
do it.
yeah, to like be moving as a unit, and like, yeah, playing a ball sport would be fun. So I'll say basketball. I
Good
think
answer.
it's yeah.
Good answer. Now I've got to
But I
ask.
want to turn it around. Yeah,
I
I'm
was
going to turn it around though, because I hear you have all these Olympic factoids on your mind, and like you seem to know more about the Olympics in general than anyone
a
that
lot
I
of
know
help
for
from
sure. But
Wikipedia in the background. You can't see how many
yeah,
screens I have open right now, Cam.
that's right. Um, but I never hear the sports that you're interested in practicing yourself. Like what do you do on a weekend?
I haven't played any form of sport, I think, since I was 14. So nearly probably as old as you are now is the amount of time in between how long it's been. I used to play field hockey. That was my sport. And
Okay, cool.
the great Australian field hockey player, Eddie Ockenden, five-time Olympian, I used to play against him. So he was a very
All
good
right.
player when I was a
Yeah.
junior. we joked when he had him on the show that I made him good, but anyway. But if I had to choose, like if I like had no prospects of actually currently holding skills in it right now, I mean, look, honestly, just for the sense of how it would make you feel to run 100 meters in less than 10 seconds, like to be Noah Lyles, to have that there's a reason why they're so cocky and like, to imagine that. Imagine being Noah Lyles and knowing you can run that fast and you have 4 years of your life right now and no one can take that away from you. I mean, that's got to be pretty cool.
Sure.
Just from that level of confidence. But I joke on this show because like my state of Tasmania we're the only state or territory in Australia that has never had a Winter Olympian. We have 8 states and territories, even from the likes of the Northern Territory, you know, home of Ayers Rock, desert, they've had Winter Olympians. Tasmania, a cold state, never had a Winter Olympian. So there's that level of achievement that would mean a lot to me to do a winter sport. And the only winter sport that Australia's never had an athlete in of the current winter sports is ski jumping. So there's something that I would find unique about being Australia's first ever ski jumper and Tasmania's first ever Winter Olympian. So I'll just say, I'll throw that out. The 100 meter, my long-winded way of answering. Thank you for asking a question. It's rare on the show. I appreciate it. But I will go with the 100 meter sprint or ski jumping. How does that sound?
I love it. Yeah. And it's sort of a similar feeling of like the feeling of actually pushing yourself across the track that fast, and also the feeling of flying through the air that
Well, I'm a wimp,
far
so
that
it's never going to happen. I'm an absolute wimp. I don't even get on real. Well, one time I tried skiing, it lasted 30 seconds and I wimped out back to the ski lodge. So I'm an absolute chicken shit. So it's never going to happen. But if I could get over that fear, and we've had ski jumpers on the show, they've given me advice and I looked up the Australian record. It's pretty small. So I feel I've got a good chance because we don't basically have any ski jumpers in this country, right? So not sure how the continental quotas are for Australia in ski jumping at the Olympics, but hey, there might be one sitting there and we've never tried it. So who knows?
There might be.
You know, you never know.
I hope you have to work for it a little bit, but that you make it.
Yeah, no, true. Like it's back to your point. You want to work for it. You don't want handed it to you. You know, but look, as that frustrated person who has no athletic ability, Cam, and that's why I host a podcast on the Olympics to live through people like yourself. Who knows? One day podcasting might be an Olympic sport and I still won't make it, but we'll never know.
Yeah.
So give that to Joe Rogan and the gang. This is the one we have fun with because I also get a bit of help, as I'm sure you've heard through some of the chats. If your Olympic journey were a movie, what would the title be and who would play you?
Oh, yeah. See, I do wish I would have put in some more prep for this because I don't know. I'm not much of a pop culture person.
Well, I've got some help if you want to get some help here because not only have I got.
Let's jump to your help.
All right. So I often is the case with ChatGPT. Their titles aren't fantastic. So I'm not going to go through the ones. I have chosen one though. I've chosen Frozen Flame. I think that kind of just pops out.
Okay.
If you went to a movie theater and saw that poster, you'd be like, Frozen Flame, I'm seeing that, right? You know, going with that one. And the poster they have put together, I love it because while it doesn't necessarily resemble you, they've at least gone for the ponytail man bun with the red hair and the lots of American stuff going on in the background. So for our audio listeners, check out our video version. There's a bald eagle flying around there. There's people trailing you behind. You're smiling as you go up there. So they know you're a smiler. They've just got you straight away, right? The climb of a lifetime. That's pretty good. In terms of the actors they've suggested, so they've gone with Domhnall Gleeson. I can see it. If you know who that is at all, that would be interesting one. Eddie Redmayne. I could see Eddie Redmayne pulling off the beard and the longer hair. That could work. Paul Dano, that's a good one as well. Rupert Grint, they've just gone redheaded actor from Harry Potter. Let's go with that one, right?
Oh yeah, that's where I know that name. Okay.
Yeah. Domhnall Gleeson, if you don't know who that is, if you've seen the Star Wars sequels, he's like the Empire guy who did like the. I don't know how to describe him. He had red hair. They've basically just gone for redheaded actors, I think. That's who they've gone through there. So have you ever been like compared to another actor or somebody else famous? Like have anyone said you're a doppelganger for someone else?
Well, during like '02, especially because it was in the US and then a few of those Olympics, I always heard the Shaun White comparison. But
yeah, okay.
Yeah, you need someone real handsome to play me though. So
True.
whichever one of those actors is the best looking.
No, look, well,
grab
Eddie
that.
Redmayne, handsome dude. Domhnall Hall's a handsome dude. Paul Dano, handsome dude. He just recently was, what was he, not the Riddler? Well, it was a Riddler in that new Batman film. That's who he was. Jesse Plemons, he's not bad. He's a good looking guy. So, there's a few good names on this list, Cam. I like that.
Great.
We could get this movie out there going. Just to ski. If we don't get a movie, we need to have some sort of like Netflix documentary, like a Drive to Survive for Skimo, right? Like I think this would really help sell the sport, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, let's like people take interest in the athletes and sports after seeing those documentaries. It's huge, like the Tour de France or with motorsports, like they get all kinds of new fans and people interested in the sport from
we are in a golden era of sports documentaries, I want to say, just with all these shows. Every sport seems to have one, right? And I feel so many winter sports needed because winter sports is where it's at.
Yeah.
Like, that's where all the cool athletes are, no pun intended. But
you're speaking my language.
Yeah, exactly. I actually want to ask, like, backtracking when you brought up Sidney Crosby, I know you're from Illinois. Does that make you like a Blackhawks fan? Do you follow like all the Chicago sporting teams? Like, you're a Bulls fan, things like that? Or
exactly. Yeah. Okay. So when you were talking documentaries, I was thinking the Michael Jordan ones and Blackhawks fan. But a lot of the Blackhawks players were on that Canadian team in 2010 and again in 2014. So yeah, there's some cross alliances, but
I used to always love
those are still my boys.
when you brought up Obama, I used to always love, there was that viral clip, I think, of him and Justin Trudeau, where it was ran when the Blackhawks had won one of their Stanley Cups in the last 15 or so years. And he's basically just like ripping into Trudeau about like, oh yeah, we've got the Stanley Cup, suck it. And then basically he's just like, yeah, but like 95% of the players on that team are Canadian. So, I mean, I sort of cheat in the NHL and the NBA that I have two teams. So NHL, I'm a Flames and a Ducks fan. And in the NBA, I'm a Bulls and a Raptors fan. So it was similar to when the Raptors won the championship. Everyone was like, yeah, but like every player except one are American. So like, you can have the NBA championship. I'm going to ask the big question then, because are you a White Sox or a Cubs fan?
Cubs.
Oh, okay. I'm a White Sox fan. There you go. That's where it got tricky right now.
Yeah, so the 2016 World Series is up there in all-time sporting moments for me.
I was in the States when that happened. I remember watching that in a friend's house in Atlanta. We were glued to that. And I was like, again, as a White Sox fan, I'm not meant to be happy for you guys, but you can't not be happy for the Cubs winning that up. Was it 100 and how many years was it after?
108 years since a championship for anyone.
Wow.
Familiar.
That is a bit of time. Geez, that's it. I remember a few of the White Sox communities at that point were a bit pissed off because a lot of the Chicago media were saying like, this is when the last time each Chicago major team won a championship. So like the Bulls in the 90s, Blackhawks obviously had success. The Bears, it was the 80s, I think it was. And they were like, and the Cubs, 100. They completely forgot that the White Sox won in 2005. So
exactly.
Let's just ignore the other Chicago team, right? So great city, Chicago. I love Chicago. Great city.
Yeah, and then the WNBA is really picking up the last few years too. I'm sure you're familiar.
And the MLS too. The MLS, the Fire. They've been not too.
Man, you are quite the
I love North American sports. What can I say? I do love it. And Chicago, honestly, like my very first trip to the US, 2010, I visited LA, New York, Toronto up in Canada, and then Chicago. And I remember my partner at the time came with me and she's like, why are we going to Chicago? Why Chicago? And I'm just like, look, like I've been obsessed with New York my whole life and I've been obsessed with Chicago my whole life. It came from loving the Bulls growing up, loving the White Sox. And admittedly, this sounds stupid, but it's true. I love the TV show ER and that was set in Chicago. So, great. And Ferris Bueller's Day Off in Chicago. All these little quirky little Chicago things. And I'm like, I've got to visit Chicago and a great city. So love it.
It's a great city. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so the Fire don't have much to write home about, but the Sky had a really good year a few years ago. And then they have some really, really fun players to follow, but the team hasn't quite put it together lately.
They'll get there. Everyone gets it. Everyone knows as a supporter of clubs that eventually, I mean, 108 years, I'm sure Cubs fans know more than anything about what it takes to be patient with the team and it will all eventually come good, right?
Exactly.
So, that's how it plays out. This is where you were talking about people asking you, certain questions and everything along those. So this question about what's the one question you're tired of being asked, and what is the one that you wish that people would ask you instead, Cam?
Oh yeah, so that's an easy one right on the tip of my tongue is are you going to the Olympics? Which I love that people are interested,
mm-hmm.
and I love that I have a chance and that our team has a chance. And so yeah, it's a happy thing, but it's so frequent. And then the qualification process is not that simple. And so I've been trying to whittle down my elevator speech to explain it all. And so yeah, I love the position that we're in, but that question is frequent.
Frequent. What do you wish that people would ask you instead then? Is there a sort of a way of rephrasing that, or is there an element to that maybe you would wish they would talk to instead of that part of your sport?
Yeah. I love the training and the preparation and talking to my coaches and making these plans. And I wish people asked more kind of the nitty gritty. I'm like, well, what are you doing in the gym right now? And what's your next race? And why'd you choose that one? And what are what are you doing this afternoon? Are you running? Are you like hiking a peak, running a peak? Are you taking the afternoon off? Like, I wish people kind of asked more of the nitty gritty of like what goes into actually training for the sport.
Pushing through with it. So this is where that question's always a positive and negative for me, because either you say a question that I've asked that you hate being asked, or potentially you say, I wish people would ask me more, and I've asked you that question. So it's kind of like it's a balancing act, right?
Yeah, great.
That's my
exactly.
my competitive question. Like, have I succeeded or failed, essentially, when it comes to this interview? The deep one, though, Cam, the one lesson you've learnt from losing that has shaped you more than winning.
Yeah, sure. I loved Max saying that he doesn't lose.
That was the best answer right there. I just wanted to end it, drop mic, boom.
Yeah, but not necessarily losing, but those years on the sidelines lately. So all of the 23 and the 24 winters, and just being away from the sport that I love, and thinking that of my losing, of just how fortunate we are to just have bodies that can just participate in these sports and find where our limits are. And I love being on that journey, and whether it was for trying to finish the Grand Traverse or whether it's for trying to make the Olympics, like just having a body that allows me to do something that I love and find my limits in it. It taught me that, or reminded me certainly of that appreciation. And I've had such a good year-ish since getting past that more recent surgery. And I'm just loving being on this journey and part of this process as a result of it.
That's why we ask that at the end, to get those answers like that and hear that and keep pushing out those positive vibes that it's just going to keep on flowing on from that, how good it's been, and push you towards that spot, hopefully, when it comes to that. So then people can also stop asking you the question. You're like, yes, didn't you see me on the news? I'm going to the fucking Olympics, all right? Just God, come on. Like, let's get that over with. Cam, it's been an absolute pleasure to learn about you and your journey and everything that's happening. If people want to follow you and stay up to date with everything that's happening between now and Milan and beyond, where can they follow you?
Yeah, well, thank you, Ben. I mean, it's been a pleasure, and I love your passion for the Olympics. And I thought that I was a big Olympics guy, and then I got to know you through this podcast, and now realize that I need to up my game. But thanks so much. I'm most active on Instagram. Cam from CB. Crested Butte is the town that I live in, so CB is what we call it. And any USA Skimo channel as well. Instagram's kind of the best place to see where I'm at. And I don't post super frequently, but enough that people kind of know where the process is and what race is coming up and all that. So yeah, thanks for following along.
No, you're more than welcome. I should also add Olympics.com. You'll be on NBC soon, probably. I mean, I see you like kind of going back to my point about this face of the sport and everything along those lines, that just you are going to be able to help sell this sport no matter what happens with it, Cam. So I think that people are definitely going to be following your journey and everything, but we definitely appreciate your time, mate. And we'll get you back on after the Olympics no matter what happens, and we'll catch up and see how it all went between now and then. How does that sound?
That sounds great. I can't wait to talk about my Olympic experience with my teammates because, yeah, we are all in and we're going to make it happen.